Welcome to part 3 of Senior Boat with Nurse Linda, Mental Myths. And we're going to talk about clinical trials.
Clinical trials,
This
yes.
is Dr. Campbell behind the camera. Jeez. And this is Nurse Linda. Welcome back. That last segment on mental health,
Mm-hmm.
very interesting.
Yes,
And the one on general medical myths,
that was a fun one.
yeah, go back for that one, folks. Okay, clinical trials. There are clinical trials everywhere.
There are clinical trials for everything, every diagnosis, every medication. If you're taking a medication for an illness, it has been through clinical trials. That means someone before you has stepped up to the plate and tried the medication first to make sure it worked, it was safe, what the proper dosage was, etc. And we're going to talk about trying to get people interested in not hesitating to join clinical trials and exactly what they are.
Say that again.
Get people to not hesitate about joining a clinical
Okay,
trial.
the word hesitate wasn't in there.
Sorry about that. Okay.
To not take.
But we want people to participate in these things. When the doctor offers up a clinical trial, the doctor generally feels that this is the best possible treatment for you because it may be a new drug that you can't get anywhere else because he or she knows that the drugs that are out there may not benefit you as well as this new one.
Okay, I've got a question. I see this on TV medical shows.
Mm-hmm.
This is a clinical trial. Half the people get the good stuff, the other half die because they don't.
No.
Is that a myth?
That is a myth. One of the many myths of clinical trials. There are different levels of clinical trials, and we'll have to do a whole show on that. But depending on what level you're at, you sign a consent form, and it's outlined completely as to exactly what can be expected. One medical myth is my insurance will not cover the costs of a clinical trial. Not true. Your insurance will cover the normal treatment costs associated with a regular standard treatment. So if you're supposed to get an IV, they cover the cost of the IV. If you're supposed to get fluid or medications to keep you from getting ill during the treatment, they cover that. The medical trial will then cover anything not covered by your insurance because that's outside of the normal practice or they'll cover the drug. They'll cover extra x-rays you might have to have, extra blood work you might have to have.
Yeah, I always thought medical trials were completely covered. Medical stuff completely covered, and they paid you.
No.
Myth.
Myth. You can get paid for doing medical trials on a volunteer basis for hand cream, for hair cream, for things like that. The medical myths we're talking about here is clinical trials for people that have diseases and are being treated for those diseases.
Like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's.
Yes, exactly. Cancer patients do not enroll in clinical trials because they believe they are unsafe or too risky. Totally incorrect. You are carefully monitored and watched, and no trial is going to be done on someone if they don't know that the medication already has some level of safety to it.
Okay, what about people getting the good stuff and people getting placebos in a trial?
Yes, that is the phase 3 or phase 4 trials is what they call them, and that is when they know that this medication that they have already standard works. They've got this new medication they want to compare it to, or they want to compare it to doing absolutely nothing to find out, do you even need treatment beyond that point? This is where in a standard world the doctor would say, well, we're done with treatment, we'll just watch you. If they offer up a clinical trial and say, well, we can either sit and watch you, or you might get this drug, but we don't know which it will be, but if we're going to sit and watch you anyway, what are you losing? A chance to get a novel new drug or just go with standard treatment. So you're really not losing anything. People on clinical trials are treated like guinea pigs. Not the case. These medications have been through animal testing. They've been through a lot of research. You are not treated as a guinea pig. You are treated as a patient. And you can stop a clinical trial at any point in time.
When you said treat like a guinea pig, I had visions of a cage with a big wheel in it.
Uh-huh. Exactly. No. You can stop a clinical trial at any point in time. You do not need to continue just because you signed up for it. But I can only participate in a trial if I have access to a major medical institution. Again, not true. A lot of clinical researchers are reaching out to the more local physicians, the physicians in the suburbs, to say, please offer this up to your client, to your patient. Let's get these people involved, because the only way they're going to get answers to the questions is to get large numbers of people involved. There is an organization called Army of Women. And Army of Women are trying to build a network of 1 million women strong to do research regarding breast cancer. And I've participated. I've never been diagnosed with breast cancer. It doesn't run in my family, but I've been asked to participate in a number of clinical trials, just answering questions. And sometimes that's all a clinical trial is. Answer a question, be willing to get another email back in 2 years or 5 years or 10 years. They want to know your sleeping habits, your eating habits. If you've had a family member with cancer, they want to ask you questions. One of the clinical trials they did was they were looking for nursing mothers to send in samples of breast milk, and they send you everything you need. You would send in a sample of breast milk, mail it back, it's all paid for, so that they can then follow you 10, 20, 30 years down the road to find out, in your breast milk, was there anything they could potentially have picked up to determine that you would have gotten cancer 20, 30, 40 years later. So all of these things, they only benefit you and your daughters. So it's very, very important to get involved.
Well, speaking of breast milk, I had a news thing come across my computer screen saying that they have a breast milk bank.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to deposit 2 gallons, please.
Yep, absolutely. And some people are afraid, they don't want, like you brought up before, they don't want to get the placebo drug. But again, you're told up front what your chances are, what your risk is. You don't have to participate in the trial if you don't want to do that. So, and many times, most trials that people are asked to participate in are this drug versus this drug, because they don't know which one is better.
So it's not good stuff, no stuff.
Right. Sometimes it's A or B, because we don't know, and we need to find out which works better. Yes, it's then when your doctor chooses which one you're going to get, they're going to flip a coin to figure out which one they want to give you. So participate. Be in those numbers. Be part of that potential cure down the road. There are a number of cancers that are curable nowadays. Because people have participated in clinical trials. Certain forms of leukemia are curable with a pill. That's the nice part about it, and that was actually found out by accident. They found this wonderful pill that could control this form of leukemia. And they found out after people were on it for an extended period of time through clinical trials that their leukemia was actually reversed.
A wonderful serendipitous, like finding of Viagra. Okay.
So participate. Don't be afraid. Ask your doctor what's available when you go in and are having trouble on whatever medication you're taking. What else is out there?
You can find it Googling it online. There are medical trials everywhere.
Yes, medical trials everywhere, every part of the country, and sometimes you can find local venues to participate in those trials as well.
Well, thank you, Nurse Linda. That's been very interesting. All 3 segments of medical myths.
Mm-hmm.
And I suggest you watch each one. They're around 8 minutes long. Tune in next week, because we have special stuff coming.
Yes, we're going to take advantage of September being Alzheimer's month. And we're going to talk about Alzheimer's.
And I'm ready. I got a whole bunch of books on that.
Good, good.
Thanks for watching, folks. This has been Senior Moment with Nurse Linda. Tune in again next week.